Hello, everybody! Welcome to GVN Live. Thank you for joining us after another 2-week hiatus. I am Fight Club Hubs, and with me is Celadon, Mark B. Writing, and Spencer. How is everybody doing today in that order?
Doing pretty good. Just been a long weekend. I've been dealing with random ISP problems, so we'll see how long that works out.
All right.
They got a guy coming out on Thursday to try to replace my modem again, because reasons, but we'll see. Should be fine tonight, though. I
Fingers
haven't really
crossed,
seen any
then.
major issues. Yeah, exactly. I haven't seen any major spikes tonight, so that's a positive thing, but I don't know. Now that I've said something, I'm sure I've jinxed it, but it is what it is.
This is why we don't talk about things, because bad things happen afterwards.
Yeah, this is why we can't have nice things.
Yeah. Mark?
I'm still fat.
Excellent.
Okay, moving on. Hi, Spencer. No. What's up, Mark?
That's it. I'm still fat. Like,
Okay.
nothing going on in particular.
Okay. Hey, Spence. How you doing down there?
Oh, I'm doing okay. I'm tired apparently. I can't stop yawning. I wasn't really tired until I sat down, and like as soon as I sat in the chair, I was like, can't stop yawning.
Don't do that.
So,
Yawning
I'm gonna do
sucks.
I'm gonna do my best. Now I'm talking about it's gonna happen.
And there it is. No, stop. It's going to be infectious. It's going to spread to everybody. Stop it.
Take
Good.
my yawn.
It's yawning, not COVID.
It's
God
kind of
damn
the
it.
same. Like,
But you can catch the yawn faster than you can catch
Yeah.
the COVID.
Yeah, but yawning is gonna fucking kill me.
Yeah,
Could
exactly.
you don't know? Like,
You never
Bruh.
know, man.
My diaphragm.
I know. Yawning won't kill you. It's fine.
But nobody enjoys it.
I don't know. I'm
Says
okay with
you.
it.
All right, whatever. So anyway, quite a bit has gone on. Well, not really a whole lot has gone on since our last episode. Today we're going to be talking about the MK trailer. Going to talk a little bit about the trailer Harry Potter nonsense that was going on. Apparently he's an asshole. Go figure. Someone at EA is an asshole. There's another class action lawsuit involving Epic, or it's the same one and it's just taking a weird turn. And then we're going to talk about, Metallica getting DMCA'd. Oops.
I want to be clear before we start. They weren't DMCA. Their music was replaced. It's similar but different.
Close enough. But anyway, to start things off, we already did. How's everyone doing? What has everybody been playing lately? So let's go in reverse. Spence, what you been up to?
mostly still GTA Online, and then last night Mark and I started playing Resident Evil 5 together with the co-op, and then
Ooh,
I
nice.
hadn't played the co-op before. I mean, like I know it's the same thing, but it's more fun playing it with somebody than playing it by myself
I
again.
mean, I hear the AI wasn't the greatest, and this is the game that came out well over a decade ago.
Yeah, it came out like what 2009,
Something like that, yeah.
like that. Yeah, that's I think that's about it. Yeah, that's about it. I haven't really been playing a whole lot. I've been pretty busy working and doing house stuff, so.
House stuff is fun. Mark, besides Resident Evil 5, what have you been up to?
Trying to think if I've played anything like particularly interesting recently. Honestly, the only game that I've like put any kind of time into that isn't, an hour or that isn't like, an ancient ass game would be Pieces of My Heart.
I'm assuming it's a graphic novel. That's what it sounds like.
No, it's a jigsaw puzzle game.
Oh, that's cool.
But there's porn in it.
Okay, that's par for the course.
Sure.
I mean, like I didn't necessarily buy it because of the porn. I bought it because of the jigsaw puzzle. There's tons of fucking porn games on Steam. And like I only have interest in so many of them. But it was like, oh, well, you assemble jigsaw puzzles of naked ladies, and I was like, all right, I'll give it a try.
I mean,
And
granted,
it's not bad. I
mean-
like jigsaw puzzles.
I mean,
at least you're not
nude
spending your
puzzle
time on
games have
bloody
been around for the last 35 years. I mean, it's just whatever at this point, to be truthfully honest.
Yeah, I was thinking about picking up Persona 5 Strikers, but to be perfectly honest,
You all
I don't
Persona
care.
5'd out?
like this is like a thing that Aaron and I would probably have disagreements on in the chat, but I bought Persona 5 Royal on PlayStation 4 during the Christmas sale, and I haven't even bothered booting it up. I just don't care about Persona 5. Persona 4 is still my fucking jam. I still think it's the shit. It's fucking wonderful. Persona 5 I fucking hate the dungeon design in it. I'm sure Strikers would be great and that I would love it to death because it combines Persona and Dynasty Warriors. So it's, basically two great tastes that taste great together. But I'm just kind of like worn out on the idea of Persona 5 for the foreseeable future.
Mhm.
So
Well, I mean, if it makes it any better, there's no confidant system in Persona 5 Strikers, which
I
you
like
know,
the
if people
confidant
wanna have
system.
this- Yeah, see, that's the thing is like a lot of people, and I've watched a bunch of reviews, and a lot of people are saying the same thing about it, that Persona 5 Strikers could very well be a genuine sequel to Persona 5 if it had had the confidant system in it.
Well, I mean, the main thing is that none of the Persona 4 sequels had the confidant system in them. So I don't
That's true.
expect them to do that sort of thing. The only thing that I really found to be depressing about that sort of stuff was that it was kind of sort of a situation where the characters don't really get to grow and evolve any further.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, with Persona 4 Dancing All Night or Persona Q or the Persona fighting games that they had, the characters are kind of like permanently locked into whatever personality archetypes they have in the core
Right.
game.
Yeah.
And like, it's you're spending, a 40-hour game watching the game emphasize that, Yukiko is bad at cooking and also likes the weirdest, worst fucking shit possible. Or that Chie really likes meat. Or that Akihiko really likes meat.
God.
And it's just like, okay, like, that's funny. Ha ha, I laughed at it, but it's like these characters aren't evolving in any meaningful way.
Right.
Except in Persona Q, in which case they did evolve, and then their memories were erased, so it didn't fucking matter.
Thanks, Pokemon.
But
So-
yeah, it's just like playing it for the plot isn't going to, immediately like bring me back into it. I would mostly just play it because I like fucking Dynasty Warriors.
No, yeah, I know for sure.
hmm
I'll get it eventually, just not right now.
Okay. We're gonna skip Jen and go straight to me. So,
Okay.
so.
Well, fuck you too, you pig fucker.
Hey. That's not nice.
I'm sorry.
I'm saving the best for last, okay? That's why I'm skipping Jan.
Oh, got him.
All right.
Nice save.
All right.
Hey, come on now. I can't always be the last one on these things. I have to, insert myself into the middle somehow every now and then.
I don't want to know nothing about you fucking inserting yourself
no.
into nothing. Shut the fuck up. And move
Hey, get your mind out of the gutter, you piece of shit.
Have you met Mark?
I mean, hello.
I mean, this is all the guy thinks about is inserting things. That's all he cares about. I mean, that's why he plays puzzle porn games, for crying out loud.
I do want to note that I was having an independent conversation with some friends of mine where they were talking about how they're going to be talking about like pornographic video games and like sort of the evolution of them. And he was like, "What do you remember about porn games from like the 80s and 90s?" And I'm like, "Not much. But are you going to talk about like all the weird Japanese games?" He's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Are you going to talk about Rayplay?" And he's like, "I haven't played it." And I was like, "Do you want me to come on the show and talk about it?" And he's like, "Have you played it?" And I was like,
No.
"Yes." Yes, I have. So I'm going to give you guys the explanation I gave him. I'm going to
Good.
give you guys the explanation I gave him as to how
Uh-huh.
that fucking shit works out. All right.
Okay.
And Jan, I know for a fact Jan will empathize with me on this at least to a certain extent,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
But here's what you need to understand about games like that. If you don't speak or read Japanese, you kind of find out what those games are about after you've already downloaded and installed them. There was no point where I was sitting down and thinking, man, I really want to play a stealth game where the objective is to rape a girl in an alley. That was never a thought process that fucking entered my mind.
Well, here's
That was
the
never
thing.
a thing I was fucking thinking about.
Here's
Okay,
the thing with
but
a
like
game
you
like
fucking
that,
download these.
with a
Here's
game
the
like
thing.
that, you don't need to read Japanese to understand what the name Rapley might insinuate. But
Fucking yes, you do. Because like, here's the thing, like fucking Japan loves its English, and like half of its fucking stuff that they do, like makes no fucking sense one way or the other.
Right.
Like they have the fucking one. Like I don't remember if you remember the fucking meme of Three Machine Gun Elephant.
Oh,
not
God.
familiar with that name.
Three Machine Gun Elephant is a Japanese band. Like they had a fucking advertisement for one of their fucking albums where it was like literally them like wearing, I want to say, football helmets that spelled out the word fuck.
Yup.
Creative.
And also, you've seen fucking New Japan Pro Wrestling.
I've seen
Yeah.
some. Yeah,
You've
here and
seen
there.
you've seen how many times they just fucking curse in English and nobody gives a shit. They just think it's like the best goddamn thing.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that goes over so good there.
Right. So when somebody puts something like that into the fucking title, when somebody releases a game called Battle Raper, there's always that thought in your head that's like, it can't be about that, can it? And then you install it and you play it and you go, nope, I was wrong. I was wrong.
Yeah.
Uninstall.
Exactly what it was.
That's pretty much.
Fortunately, in the modern era, it's become much easier to know what this shit is about thanks to Google Translate. So
Right.
now I don't have to spend 2 hours downloading something to find out that, oh, this got me on a list somewhere.
The FBI is somewhere looking down the list. Okay, who the fuck is this Mark B. Writing guy? It's this guy who does, videos and wears a weird ass hockey mask. Oh,
Like,
that
yeah, I'm
guy.
not on the no-fly list yet. That's all I'm fucking worried about.
Good. As long as that's not a thing, I think we're safe.
All right, but anyway, what have I been playing? I've been playing still Atelier Ryza 2. And for the longest time, I couldn't figure out how many hours I actually put into the game because the save file didn't automatically tell me, and there's no clock in the game itself to tell me how long I've been playing for. Then I realized that when I highlight the save data and I press start and select more info, it actually gave me my stats, levels, and even my time, which I've apparently put 56 hours into the game. Woo! And I'm not even done yet. I've been apparently turning Wednesdays or every other Wednesdays apparently into a gamer night with some friends where we play Among Us, and we have a lot of fun yelling and arguing with each other. It's very comical. I've been streaming it too, and what else have I been playing? Oh, I picked up Mario 3D World / Bowser's Fury, and Bowser's Fury is actually a lot of fun. I'm kind of enjoying it a lot more than Mario Odyssey right now, and they say it's actually quite shorter than Mario's Odyssey, so I'm okay with that. I mean, I'm actually find it a little bit more challenging already than Mario's Odyssey, which I think was an incredibly easy and kind of repetitive game, to be truthfully honest. But moving on, saving the best for last, like I said we would. Hey Jan, what have you been up to and what have you been playing?
Not a ton really. There was like 2 new big music packs that came out for Musedash, which I still play the hell out of that game for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
I finally got a chance to pick up Lethal League Blaze because I've been meaning to for a while, and I love the original, and the music for Blaze is fucking phenomenal. Other than that, I don't know. It's been kind of slow. I've been doing some like Discord hangouts with some friends and stuff like that. They've been playing through Hades, so that's been a trip. Love that game. Holy shit. That is such a good fucking game. And that and pretty much just like dinking around waiting for the Street Fighter V winter update to finally hit, which did finally hit yesterday, and then all my internet shenaniganry happened, so
Did you hear what
Gotta wait
happened
another
right
couple
away
minutes
once
to
it
do
hit?
that, so. Mm-mm.
Yeah, within an hour of the game dropping, this dude found an infinite with Dan.
That doesn't shock me.
No.
Like, it
With
just
Dan
doesn't
of all
shock me.
characters. It's just, I think it's hilarious.
No, he's fucking hella top tier in fucking this update. He's really a good character now. Like, they took him from haha funny joke man to haha fuck your life bar. Like,
I'm gonna have to
he's a
start
really good
practicing with Dan
character.
so I can kick the shit out of Emily.
There you go.
Oh, don't do that. She's pissed off that she still has to wait for Oro. And
I
the
very
fact that-
specifically
wait for
told her.
Oculus,
I very specifically told her that as soon as Dan came out, I was gonna fucking beat the shit out of her with Dan. And she was like, "Yeah, bring it, whatever." And I was like, "All right." So knowing that Dan is top tier is just like,
Mhm.
better hope
It's
that
pretty Pretty funny.
I don't know.
yeah,
She might
it's
be ready.
rain and salt. Hallelujah! It's rain and salt.
All right,
Yeah.
so that's all good. Oh, my cat's making noises again. Fluffy,
For a
shut
second
up.
there, I thought it was a spirit, and then I'm like, wait, that's your cat.
Yeah, it's what he does. He makes those weird noises whenever he decides to want to tackle his little fake mouse.
Oh, that's adorable.
Yeah, he walks around with it, wanting to like show it off or whatever. He's like, "Hey, look what I caught! Look what I caught!" And, like, good job.
He's a good boy.
Oh, good boy. Yeah.
Actually, I don't think you guys have ever met Fluffy. So let's see. Fluffy, what are you up to, Fluffy? What are you up to, Fluffy? Hey, stupid. Look at you skip.
Aw.
Fluffy is the
He's
he's
say-
14
I was
years
gonna
old,
say,
by
are
the
we
way.
looking at the? Are we looking at the fucking cacodame in here? What
I
the
was gonna
fuck?
say, I didn't see the cat at first, and I thought you were talking about the cat.
I know. I have a white desk, and he runs over.
You
My cat is like
okay?
pure white and kind of like molding, like merging with the desk.
I was like, I didn't know your cat was actually a meatball demon. That's adorable.
But yeah, so moving on, let's talk about, a couple things that might have happened. I mean, they may have happened, I don't know. They came and went so quickly with the hype that they had. The MK trailer came out last week. That was a thing. But
that
no,
happened.
to be truthfully honest, here's my opinion of it. If you haven't seen the trailer, definitely check it out. This looks like the Mortal Kombat movie I was expecting to have when I was 15 years old when the first one originally came out. But then, they dropped the PG-13 rating on us. So, you see, in the trailer, you see Jax getting his arms ripped off, a couple people getting
Well,
beheaded.
frozen off technically, but yeah.
Well, yeah.
Froze him off, but then he still rips them off, and you see the blood gushing out of his arms. You see a bunch of characters from. It looks like it's a merger of Mortal Kombat 1 and 2 characters. You got Kano in there. You got Jax with the cybernetic arms. You obviously see how that he gets there. You got two different. You got Sub-Zero and Scorpion.
Hmm.
I don't think I saw Shang Tsung unless he was one of the old men that I didn't notice.
I mean, he's in the movie, but I don't think they showed him in the initial teaser.
Yeah, I don't think I noticed Raiden either. They did show
Exactly.
Sonya Blade.
They
said-
showed Raiden. They said Lord Raiden specifically.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Lord Raiden, he popped up on screen with his little
Okay,
triangle.
then I might have missed him. But it looked like a really solid cast. Some people are upset about the omission of Johnny Cage. Oh well. But it looks like it could be a fun film. I'm not looking to get wowed or whatever, but I'm expecting it to be a fun, bloody good time. What are your guys' thoughts? We'll go with let's go Spencer. Did you first off, what did you think of the trailer? And did you see the first movie that came out back in 1995? And what were your thoughts on that?
Kind of like what you said, man. Like, this is exactly what I would want from a Mortal Kombat movie. It looks brutal and bloody and gory, and it's exactly what I would want, especially after, playing the games and the more recent versions of the games that just seem like it gets more and more gory every time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, this is exactly what I want from this game. I want ridiculous, over-the-top blood and spines being ripped out. And then now it's in a movie. It's perfect. I've watched the original movie multiple times. It was like, because it came out when I was 2 years old. Sorry to make everybody feel old. But I mean, I obviously didn't watch it when I was 2. I don't think. If I did, I don't remember it. But I watched it throughout the years, and I always enjoyed it. Like, it was a cool movie, especially because I was in karate as a kid, and I got a black belt. So I was like, oh man, like martial arts is cool in general. And then like now we have a guy with 4 arms doing it. And I was like, this is pretty dope. And then now we have the more brutal version that it probably should have been originally. But at the same time, I'm kind of glad that we're getting it now because computer graphics and like special effects in films, whether they're practical or computer generated, are just miles ahead of where they would have been in 1995. So getting to see it where it, can actually simulate the blood and like the blood liquid droplets and things is going to be so freaking cool. Where I feel like it would have been cool in the 1995 version. It just wouldn't have had the same punch,
Yeah. I think you could look at definitely the issue with not having the blood and the violence in the 1995 version, mainly due to the fact that at that same time, you had all the parents and Congress and senators going absolutely wild with all the violent games. So tone it down, go after your target demographic, so you can make your money, which is what I think the plan of the movie was, to make it a PG-13 rating, because for a game that was that was targeted, with the MA-17 rating when the ESRB finally, kicked into gear, it was surprising how many kids from the ages of 10 to 17 were playing the game, and that was their target demographic, and you can't really let them in if you got a rated R movie. So that was understandable then. Now, not so much a big deal, because most of the people who grew up are, adults now, and the Mortal Kombat games are even more bloodier than before, and yeah, I'm not letting my 10-year-old play those games. So, but what are your thoughts, Jan?
So, from somebody who has played a large majority share of the Mortal Kombat games, and somebody who like grew up with the series, and remembers that there were 2 distinctly different versions and 2 distinctly different codes that you had to put in to make the blood even accessible, for the very first one on home consoles.
Abacab, yay!
Yep, and Dullard. Don't forget about that one.
Yeah, Dullard. Yep, at the title screen though.
Well, I mean, yeah, but the baseline is that like I watched the trailer not really knowing what to expect. I just kind of went in completely like empty expectations, because we've seen what happens when a video game movie is made. There's not a good track record. We have currently at best 2 other movies right now that I am aware of that have done absolutely phenomenally in terms of box office success, and that's Detective Pikachu and Sonic. So is this a trend that's continuing forward that can make things finally, match the expectations of the gamers to the movie? Or is this sort of like inherently just how things have finally progressed, because the people that grew up on the games are finally the ones making the movies, versus people who are just like, that's a hot topic, we should make a movie on it, and not have any real semblance of concept behind what made the game popular in the first place. When in 2013, when they announced Killer Instinct was going to be on Xbox One, a lot of people didn't think it was going to be as good as the originals, because it was built to be just this over-the-top sensationalist kind of a fighting game, right?
Mm-hmm.
The same concept of, like, is it going to be like this, or is it going to be like that? Are we going to have somebody that actually pays attention? Or is somebody actually going to try to stay more true to things? Like, because up until most recently, in the last, 5-7 years, most of the people that are making video game movies are just like, they're making them to make money on a franchise, which no one likes that. And so to see people genuinely wanting to take existing beloved and or cult classic concepts and turning them into fully fledged live action movies are becoming more and more popularized again, because people are trying to stick to the roots of what they grew up with. So I went back and I rewatched the trailer a couple of times today just because I wanted to try to remember what was all in it. And it was so... I don't want to say it was like shot for shot, like them trying to replicate something, because it didn't feel like that at all. And the more I think about it, the more I'm like, this isn't just about Mortal Kombat. This is not just about being a chosen warrior going to fight for Earthrealm, blah, blah, blah. There's so many subtle undertones of the Sub-Zero Scorpion feud between Scorpion, between Hanzo and the Lin Kuei, and Scorpion becoming a Hellspawn and going to fight Sub-Zero because he thinks that they're like legitimately sticking to the actual lore that was established all of those years ago, which was not the case in the original movies at all. They're not centering the movie around Liu Kang, which is fucking mental in my eye, because like he was always supposed to be the number one chosen one by Raiden for Earthrealm, but now all of a sudden they're like, oh, well, Liu Kang's just kind of a side character. He still has a big part, but this complete Johnny Rando, who we've completely made up for this movie, is actually the main character. So it's like, oh, well, okay, maybe there's hope for it. There's a lot of positives, there's a lot of negatives. It's really hard to see, because like, if you're coming from a side of people who have played the game, it looks pretty decent. But if you're coming from a side of people who are kind of like, I've only played the most recent iterations, like I've only played MKX and MK11, they're going to see this and they're going to go like, I don't really understand what they're doing with this. And so there's two things that I want to see from the whole movie. I want to see them play to the ham, which we all know is part of NetherRealm anyway. Like, NetherRealm has a history of hamming up certain aspects of characters. That's just common knowledge. Like, Shang Tsung is just this ham-fisted old sorcerer who just also happens to be a badass. But he plays to that strength, which is a big reason why he's such a popular character. And then you play to the big gore factor, which is the whole point of Mortal Kombat in the first place. And you've probably got a recipe for success, but it's such a fine line that I don't know. Like the original movie was a cult classic because it was campy, but it was also a product of its era. So I really kind of hope they don't try to emulate the original, but just kind of try to stick to what makes Mortal Kombat Mortal Kombat.
Well, as long as they can improve upon the reptile CG effects, I think they're going in the right direction.
I mean, they have like 5 seconds of what the new Goro looks like, and he looks fucking amazing, so I'm kind of excited.
Woo! All right. Hey, Mark, your thoughts?
So, in general, I usually will break down the idea of video game movies both. Is it a good movie, and is it faithful to the product in which it's adapting? But here, I kind of want to like look at it from three categories. Is it going to be a good movie? Is it going to be an entertaining movie? And is it going to be faithful to the product? Is it going to be a good movie? Well, who's involved in this? The producer of the film is James Wan, who is most notable as being the director or the writer in various capacities of a number of movies that we've all seen, inclusive of, but not limited to, Insidious, which is, one of those fucking things where like a child murders people. The Conjuring, The Nun, Annabelle Comes Home.
Oh boy.
And of course, Saw and Saw 3. Oh, and Furious 7. The director is Simon McCoy, who has done nothing but Mortal Kombat.
Is he the guy who did the Mortal
writer-
Kombat web series?
No.
No.
He literally just did Mortal Kombat. This film. That's
This
it.
is
That's
his
all he's
first
done.
credit, huh? Okay.
Yeah.
Outside of a video short called The Nighttime Economy, which, I mean, I've never heard of. I'm sure he's done other things, but nothing that would be tracked on IMDb. We'll put it that way.
That's fair.
Okay. The film has 2 writers associated with it. One of the 2 writers is a guy named Greg Russo, who is both the writer and the screenplay writer. Greg Russo has no other credits that are presently associated with him in completed properties, but he is attached as a writer to Death Note 2 and the Space Invaders movie.
Wait,
So-
hold on. There's a Space Invaders movie?
It's coming. It's fucking coming.
Oh
Uh,
no! I thought that was a joke. It's actually happening.
So the other screenwriter is
Okay.
Dave Callahan, who has a bunch of different credits associated with him, inclusive of things we've actually seen, like that have actually come out. It's kind of a mixed bag. On one hand, he was associated with Zombieland Double Tap, which is generally regarded as a good movie.
Mm-mm.
On the other hand, he was associated with Wonder Woman 1984, which is
Ooh.
generally not considered to be a good movie. On the other hand, he's associated directly or indirectly with all 3 of the Expendables movies. On the other hand, he was a writer for Godzilla,
Which
the
one?
Which
first,
one?
the 2014 one.
Okay, which I like.
Yeah, but it's
Hmm.
why are we telling the story of the people? Let's talk about the fucking
Yes.
murderous lizard. On the
Yeah.
other hand, he also wrote Doom,
Which
one? The
Doom?
one with the rock?
the 2005 one.
The one with the rock.
Yes.
Mm,
Oh,
not
oh,
Annihilation. Okay.
Oh
Yeah.
fuck.
Uh, the other screenwriter is Oren Uziel, who has been associated with 22 Jump Street, Mortal Kombat
God.
Rebirth, and Mortal Kombat Legacy, one episode. Specifically the Scorpion and Sub-Zero battle episode. And the Cloverfield Paradox.
Okay.
What the fuck is that?
It's the 3rd Cloverfield movie. The first Cloverfield movie was interesting. The second Cloverfield movie was good. The 3rd Cloverfield movie was neither of those.
Wasn't the third
Um,
Cloverfield movie the one in the space station
Yes.
on Netflix
Yes.
exclusive?
Yes, it was not very good. So if you're asking me the question, if we're starting from the question of is this movie going to be good? Oh, hell no. There is not a single creative person associated with this who has made anything that I would consider to be like legitimately good. Like there's stuff that's solid, there's stuff that's enjoyable. Nothing that like these people have been associated with is like good, So
Mhm.
this movie is not going to be good, likely. Is it going to be entertaining? Probably. It's probably going to be an enjoyable use of 1.5 to 2 hours of your time because again, fucking James Wan knows how to make a movie that you can turn your fucking brain off and enjoy. He's done it like 20 goddamn times.
hmm
Dave Callahan as a screenwriter has been associated with, at least like 5 to 10 movies that you can turn your brain off and enjoy. Orem Uziel has been associated with several movies that you can fucking at least follow. And he's actually written some shit for Mortal Kombat. I'm sure it'll probably be entertaining. Do I think it's going to be good? Absolutely fucking not. So then the last question comes, do I think it's going to be faithful to Mortal Kombat? And the answer to that question is, it really depends on what the story is that they're trying to tell. If they're just trying to tell a story that is adjacent to the Mortal Kombat universe, featuring all of these characters showing up and doing shit, and Cole Young is associated with the film, like as a character, okay. I don't have a problem with that. We don't need a retelling of the first Mortal Kombat again. We've seen that like 6 times, 3 times in the games at this point, and once at least in film, plus in the various television shows and things of that nature. I don't necessarily need the story of Liu Kang again because, we've gotten it a bunch of fucking times. If they want to tell some kind of weird adjacent story to that, okay, I'm all right with that. A couple of people have also theorized that Cole Young could be like some sort of reinterpretation of Johnny Cage, or could even be Bihan's brother, Bihan being the original Sub-Zero, which could actually be an interesting alternative, because the movie is very specifically about Sub-Zero attempting to chase down Cole Young.
Right.
So why? So it could very well be that he is, Bihan's brother. We don't know. So the idea in some capacity or another that there could be like some kind of interesting also ran story there. Maybe it could be like in the world of that as an entertaining thing, like as entertaining associated attachment. The only thing that's kind of confusing to me is it seems like they have Kano in the same group as fucking Sonya Blade and Jax.
Right.
And I'm just kind of like,
what's that all about? Because
none of the fuck.
He still seems like an Aussie fuckhead, but at the same time,
well, they actually made that canon in the games because they loved the guy's performance in the first film so much.
Which is perfectly fine. Like that, I don't have a problem with. But
because originally he was supposed to be like, he was a bad guy. He was a bad guy. He was a murderer, and he did a. He was a leader of
a gang.
Right, like he was a bad guy, and they're painting him in a way different light in that trailer. We have literally no idea what they're doing with him.
Yeah, so like,
or maybe it's one of those forced unholy alliances, so we never know.
Yeah, so like I don't know what they're doing with Kano in this. I'd be interested to see. The fact that like he just kind of is there in the trailer, and there's like no real association between like Sonya, Jax, Kano, etc. is kind of interesting.
Maybe they'll explain how he gets his metallic eye, because he didn't have that in the film trailer.
Yeah, I mean, beyond that, like
coming out of it.
What?
Yeah, like it also he had a big laser beam coming out in the trailer.
Well, they never showed that side of his face in the trailer, so they must have done a good job of.
No, it was from the other. It was from the other side. Like they showed his regular side of his face, and the laser was clearly coming out of his eye from the other side.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, like also like the characters that they've announced, I don't think this is going to be like a mainline storyline, because they got like Sonya, Kano, Raiden, Jax, Liu Kang, Shang Tsung, Sub-Zero, Scorpion, Kung Lao, Melina, Cabal, and Nitara. Like most of the characters you would expect to like, these are all like characters from like the first game, except for like Melina and Cabal and Kung Lao. Although technically speaking, Kung Lao was in the first game in that. He was the guy who gets murdered before Liu Kang. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Anyway, the point is like basically like most of these characters are MK1 characters. So it's like, are they retelling the story of MK1? Are they doing an alternative story? What are they doing here? So I'm interested to see what they do with it. Yes, Jax was also in 2. You are correct.
Right.
So I'm very interested to see where they go with this. Mortal Kombat is one of the easier franchises to canonically tell a correct story about. So, I'm not too concerned. I mean, Street Fighter isn't hard to fucking tell a canonical story about it. It's just that everybody who's fucking like the fucking anime Street Fighter movies are great.
Oh yeah,
it's just that like the movies that are made by Americans.
The anime Street Fighter movie was great. The other ones sucked balls.
Okay, fair. But yeah, like it's not hard to tell a good Street Fighter story. It's just that it's hard to do it if you're an American, because for some shit awful reason they constantly want to focus in, like they constantly need to fucking change shit for reasons that don't make sense. Fucking tell the story of Ryu and Ken, and that's 2 hours of a movie. It's great, it's enjoyable. That's all you got to do. So again, the point is, Mortal Kombat's an easy thing to tell a story about. You don't got to put in a hell of a lot of fucking effort to make that work. I'm not too concerned about it being plot adjacently appropriate. I'm sure as far as video game movies go, it will be an hour and a half that will be fine. It won't be offensive. It will just exist.
Right.
All right. So, I mean, we already got your thoughts on what you think on what your outlook of the film might be. Let's end the discussion by thinking what everybody else thinks, what their expectations are for the film. So, Spencer, what are your thoughts looking going forward with the film?
I mean, I think it's gonna be fun just to watch all of like the violence and gore more than anything.
Okay. And your final thoughts, John? Are you looking forward to this? Are you optimistic going in? Do you hope it's going to be a fun film?
The thing about like Mortal Kombat in general is it's meant to be goofy fun anyway, because it's not meant to be realistic. Let's be honest. So the whole concept of what am I going to expect out of this is like I expect Mortal Kombat out of a Mortal Kombat movie. That's literally it. Something I can just switch my brain off, watch people get hit really hard, watch blood splatter everywhere, and hear cheesy one-liners from somebody. Like that's what my expectations are. If there's more to it and I'm actually invested in it, then great. But other than that, I don't know. I'm going in at like a 40%, and if I come out at a higher percentage, I'll be happy.
Yeah, if Scorpion kills Sub-Zero, that's all I fucking care about. If Scorpion kills Sub-Zero, cool. That's basically what I would watch your movie for. Give me a good 10-minute fight between Scorpion and Sub-Zero where Scorpion kills him in the end by ripping his fucking head off of his shoulders, complete with his spinal column.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, no, that's Sub-Zero's fatality. Fuck. Complete with Scorpion fucking taking his mask off and setting him on fire with his flaming skull.
There you go.
It's been a long fucking time since I played the original Mortal Kombat.
Although you have to admit now, going back to the original film, that fight between Johnny Cage and Scorpion was probably fucking awesome. So maybe they can replicate some awesome fights for this film. But
I'm sure that's going to be most of where the budget in this is going to go into.
Absolutely.
Oh,
all right,
sure.
so that was a much longer discussion than I expected it to be. So we're gonna move on to some drama now. Who doesn't love drama? So of course we all know that Electronic Arts is what?
I said drama in our channel. It's more likely than you think.
Why? Whatever do you mean? Anyway,
drama in my vagina.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. EA has been, working on an open world, like Harry Potter-esque, game.
It's not a Harry Potter-esque game. It's a Harry Potter game.
It's in the Harry Potter universe.
Action Harry Potter game where
it's a Harry Potter universe-based game because there's, like you don't say the Lord of the Rings-esque era. You say Middle Earth era or something like that. So. Like I don't have.
Yeah, I suppose you could say Hogwarts style, a Hogwarts.
Yeah,
game.
A Hogwarts themed game, and of course, to avoid, their drama, they tried to distance themselves from the bitch who turns out to be a transphobe. Well, apparently they couldn't avoid drama for much longer because we got this guy Troy Levitt who has some things to say, and he likes to fuck things up for everybody. Mark, would you like to take over here on this?
I'll give you guys a moment. Discuss amongst yourselves. I have a bit to go on,
okay.
So
well,
let you guys get your shit out of the way first, and then let me do my thing, so I don't bury the whole conversation here.
Okay, so guys, I'm gonna ask you guys 2 questions each, and then after that, the discussion's done because it's gonna belong to Mark at this point. We're not gonna get a word in edgewise.
I mean, you'll be able to fucking say stuff. I'll stop.
But do you want us to
Mark,
make you stop?
Filibuster starts now.
I mean, if you have something you want to contribute, that's fine. Fucking rock out. It's just I did my homework. I did some research on this guy because I actually fucking remembered him.
Okay.
Oh.
Ooh. Okay. Well, Jan, tell us your thoughts on this matter and how it makes you feel. There's your 2 questions.
So when I first heard about this game, obviously the big issue was, oh, well, that's just more money in Rowling's pocket. Why are we going to buy this game? And then the game actually looked really good. And I'm like, oh no, I hate it. I know a lot of people who are probably still going to play this game regardless, and I don't hold that against them. More just, I'll just be really disappointed in them because, let's be honest, we really shouldn't be giving more money to that person. But, beggars can't be choosers, right? Well, then the development house comes out stating, oh, by the way, they have nothing to do with this game. So rest assured, even though it's in the universe, it is not technically anything that's going to put money in her pocket outside of basic licensing to the Wizarding World franchise. And I'm like, Yeah, I mean, I guess that's a Universal property rather than a JK property, so whatever. Not really worried about it. But then we end up with more issues, and now all of a sudden we get more problems coming from this dude where like everyone finds out about this guy's history, and then all of a sudden Twitter's exploding and social media is exploding and news sites are exploding of one side versus the other. Like one side is like, can't people have opinions and change? And then other people are like, this guy is a massive dickbag. Why would you even consider buying something with this guy's name on it? So it's quite an interesting sort of saga, I guess. This game looked great, and I'm not gonna lie, it still does. It's just fucking sad that people just can't understand. If you're a bad person and you talk about this kind of stuff, and it's, you know, what it is, but at the same time you try to get to the person who's, you know, the topic of the problem, and they decline to comment initially, and it sort of starts to seem like maybe the reason why he hasn't done anything is because he's been developing the game and can't, but really wants to. So I don't know. It's fuck. I'm just exhausted thinking about it, honestly, because it's just like, why can't we have nice things?
All right, and Spencer, your thoughts before we turn the reins over to Mark.
I mean, that actually kind of hit a lot of the topic, like, you know, the points that I had. Like, my thing too is looking at the article and the screenshot of this dude's YouTube channel. These videos are from years ago. Like this video wasn't posted like after he was hired to make this game. So someone had to probably look into him a little bit, and I'm sure if you Googled his name, this would pop up, and they went, "Nah, that's cool. We're fine with it." So like, how the fuck does that happen? And two, you know, people arguing, you know, people have, you know, they learn, they change, they grow. I can agree with that to an extent, but like, if that's what happened, why didn't he delete all of this bullshit? So that's probably not what happened. I think what I see happening with this is people are still going to buy the game because they won't know about all this. They'll know about the stuff with J.K. Rowling because that's very public and broad information. Most people are going to look at it at this, if they even see it, and go, "Oh, game dev guy dumb. Okay, whatever. I don't care. I want to play a Harry Potter game," because they may not be as invested into the games industry as we are. You know, this would be the person there, or maybe is playing this game on like their friend or partner's console because this is the first video game they've ever wanted to play, or first video game maybe since like the PS1 Harry Potter game, because they specifically only like that franchise.
Oh no!
Yep.
Square Hagrid, no!
Square Hagrid.
Ah!
Yeah. So I mean, I don't feel like this particularly is gonna hurt the game outside of games industry people or people who are really interested in video games. Which sucks. It doesn't suck because I'm sure there are a lot of amazing people who are working on this game, but the higher ups need to, you know, get rid of the trash who are working on the game. Which doesn't look like that's going to happen unless this article gets updated in the next few days and something has happened.
See, that's the thing is, I'm always conflicted when I hear people getting really angry about, let's say, a lead developer or a director of a game who says, you know, some insensitive or horrifying things, and yeah, it does, and goes unpunished, but people react by saying, "Oh, boycott the game" or whatever, when really you shouldn't be boycotting the game. You should be probably making a giant fuss to bring attention to this one individual and hopefully get him punished by his company or his higher ups, not punish the other hundreds of employees that have been working on this game for the last year, 2 years, or whatnot. So that's why I feel a little conflicted about stuff like this. It's just like all these poor people are caught in the crossfire. Why do we have to punish them for this giant douchebag? You know?
Right.
Mhm.
That's the hard part. Is it's like you almost have to somehow it has to become like an ultimatum to the people who be selling this game, and people have to actually stick to it of get rid of that dickhead and I will pre-order it or I will buy it after it's been released and he is no longer involved. But how do you do that and actually implement that? Because like you said, there are a lot of people who are probably wonderful human beings working on this game, and it could be like their dream to make a Harry Potter game because they love Harry Potter, but now they're working on it with this asshole and people don't want to buy it because of him, and they're like,
Right.
this is everything I've ever wanted and now it's being taken from me because this guy is a fuck.
Anyway, now we're going to turn things over to Mark because I'm sure he's got quite a bit to say.
Hold on, let me get comfortable.
Where's the
No,
popcorn?
So
I am prepared.
so
I perceive.
I'm gonna bury the lead here. Troy Leavitt is at best an above average video game producer and an idiot. I am frankly astonished that Electronic Arts was willing to hire this man. And that basically proves that they do not care about the overall quality of the Harry Potter game or of anything to do with any of the people that they hire in any capacity. The game is almost certainly going to be, at best, a 7, maybe in a 7.5 out of 10, even without all of this drama. And frankly speaking, the only reason that this guy got into this game is because he failed at being a YouTube hack. So, let's begin. Troy Leavitt, I remembered this motherfucker when his name came up because one of his videos was vaguely circulating around during the era of Gamergate, because that was the only time that he was in any way notable prior to right now. And we'll get to the video in a minute, but at the time, I very distinctly remembered looking up his resume and wondering, okay, so this guy was very much presenting himself as being a seasoned, experienced developer with 2 decades in the world of video game development who had criticisms about Anita Sarkeesian. Because that's what it always fucking comes down to, right? Like you can't have a fucking opinion about video games without it be like having something to say about fucking Anita Sarkeesian. Jesus Christ. So I went and I look up this guy's fucking resume, and this guy's resume is just a fucking laundry list of 7 out of 10 or below games.
Yeah.
So this guy started off with Acclaim.
Okay.
Or more specifically, I should say GT Interactive, and then moved to Acclaim. While he was with GT Interactive, he created the game Critical Depth. You probably haven't played it. You probably don't know anybody who's played it. It was a solid 6 to 7 out of 10, like, underwater combat game.
Huh.
They very specifically described it as from the developers who know vehicular combat, which is essentially GT Interactive Software was in some way, shape, or form associated with Twisted Metal.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Now I remember.
Right. They're now presently like part of the many armed chimera that is Atari. But okay, so Critical Depth was basically one of those kind of games, but underwater. You didn't play it. You don't know anybody who played it. It was mediocre. His next credits then come from being a designer or a lead designer on WWF Warzone, which was great when we were 12. Street Coverboard Racing, you didn't play it and you don't know anybody who played it. And Jerry McGrath's Supercross World. Maybe you played this, you probably didn't. So he was the lead designer on Jerry McGrath's Supercross World as well as the producer.
Okay.
And I know this because Moby Games loves to catalog what you're associated with as a developer. Jerry McGrath's Supercross World, I should note, has scores ranging from 61 from a Danish website, going all the way down to 24 from GameSpot.
Wow.
He was also the producer on ECW Anarchy Rules, which that's a little inside joke for Robert and me. There, that's and Aaron in the chat.
Oh God.
nobody else fucking played that piece of shit, but the three of us probably. And if you did, I feel
have the
really fucking
Dreamcast
bad
version
for you.
too. So.
Yeah.
And then he was the producer for Legends of Wrestling, the first one.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay.
Then the next 10 years of his career was exclusively spent working for Avalanche Software. And if you don't know about Avalanche Software, let me tell you the sum total of what he has made. 2 TAC games.
Oh,
which,
TAC.
Yeah,
Right,
TAC.
right.
Right, which is THQ's basic attempt at making like a puzzle platformer character that nobody gave a shit about. And a shitload of Disney games. Inclusive of, but not limited to, Chicken Little Ace in Action, Meet the Robinsons, Hannah Montana Spotlight World Tour, Bolt, Toy Story 3, Cars 2, Disney Infinity 2.0, Disney Infinity Toy Box.
I have to ask, which Toy Story 3 game?
The one that was above average.
Because
Wait,
if it's the one that I have, I mean, that's actually probably the only good Disney game to come out in the last. And that's a 10-year-old game.
It's the one. It's specifically the one that's between 80 to 50 on the rating score. So it's probably the one you're thinking of. That's probably the best game that he's made.
Yeah, because that's a very revered game from what I remember. People loved it.
Well, I mean, let's be extremely clear about this. It's very revered in the sense that, oh God, it's a licensed game that's actually enjoyable and fun to play.
Mm-hmm.
It's not good in the strictest sense of things. It's a solid 7.5 game.
I would say I would give it an 8
Pitchford
because of how much I'm enjoying it. But go ahead.
Sure. Okay, that's fine. Again, Disney Infinity wildly fluctuates from beginning to end as far as that goes. Some people love it, some people hate it, etc. The point is that this man his entire career has been associated with licensed properties and shit. The best games that he has made go with the asterisk next to their name of being solid, enjoyable licensed games. Like before we got to a point with like Batman and Spider-Man where people were like, oh God, licensed games can actually be legitimately good. So this isn't fucking Hideo Kojima coming out here and talking to us about his opinions on video games. This is a guy who has spent his whole life making licensed games and has made some enjoyable ones, but time has kind of moved on as it relates to his resume, and I would not expect a fucking 8 out of 10 on a Harry Potter game from this guy. Like, I just don't feel like that's a reasonable expectation to start with. I don't think he's a good producer. I don't think he's a good designer. Again, the best game that he made was probably Toy Story 3, and that was 10 years ago. Nothing that he has made since then has really touched it. And Disney Infinity took them 4 versions to get to a point where people were like, this might actually be a decent thing, and then Disney shit-canned the entire fucking studio. So if in 4 versions you couldn't make that into something that people really wanted to own and that Disney wanted to continue making, like, I don't know why EA picked this fucking guy up, frankly. So after Avalanche Software folds, he's got nothing going on, basically. I guess he probably decided that he was more or less retired, and he thought he'd throw his fucking hat into the ring as far as, like, reactionary YouTubers went. And this is where I first heard about him, because he released a video, and it is the most viewed video on his channel, called Anita's Pinhole, a veteran game developer responds to feminist frequency, Finally. So,
Well, I'm glad you put
caveat.
finally on the end there.
Yeah, finally. So let me just start with the fact that you spent 20 years in video game development does not make you a veteran game developer in anything but time put in. That's like calling Barry Horowitz a veteran wrestler. He was entertaining. I wouldn't fucking take his opinion on Stone Cold Steve Austin seriously in any way, shape, or form. For those who don't watch professional wrestling, Barry Horowitz lost all the fucking time. That's his whole thing. But you get what I'm saying. I
He
wouldn't.
was the jobber of jobbers.
Right. I wouldn't take a fucking like a guy who spent 20 years warming the bench for the Mets. I wouldn't take his opinion seriously on the fucking legacy of Darryl Strawberry. You get what I'm saying here?
Yeah.
Okay, but further to the point, this video is the most viewed on his channel at 650,000 views. This video has been out for 4 years, 5 years now. So when you will probably not be surprised when I note that most of the videos that he has released since then have not broken 100,000 views, and many of them have. There's quite a few of them that haven't even broken 1,000. The only time people bother to watch his content is specifically if he's fucking shitting on women. So I watched 5 fucking years ago Anita's Pinhole, and I thought at the time the guy was a vacuous dumbass, and I moved on with my day. But when people started talking about him again, if you look at the fucking Kotaku article or the GameSpot article, they very specifically call him like an alt-right reactionary and an anti-SJW and all this stuff. And I was like, all right, wait a minute. I don't remember what he had to say being that fucking controversial or inflammatory. It was just him fucking jerking off the fucking Pinkertons, which is my pet name for gamer gators, because every time they show up, they ruin everything around them. So, jerking off the Pinkertons, and that was just kind of what he did. Like, he didn't fucking matter. He wasn't fucking relevant. So I went back to his fucking YouTube channel, which is still linked in his Twitter profile. So, real quick, if anybody's saying this guy's opinion might have changed or people can grow and change and get better, his YouTube channel is still linked in his Twitter bio right now, at this moment, and it probably will be for the foreseeable future. Even after all of these articles came out, he has not removed that link. I don't think this guy's fucking opinion has changed in any meaningful way whatsoever. Also, he wrote a fucking video about how much he hates The Last Jedi, so...
Oh, good. Oh, I'm so glad.
Yeah. He also stopped making videos about 2 years ago, presumably around the time that he got picked up by EA to make this Harry Potter game. So yeah, like this clearly was not making him his fucking money, right? So I watched through 2 of his videos. Specifically, I rewatched Anita's Pinhole because I remembered it being fucking vacuous and boring and him being a fucking idiot. But I actually wanted to see why I remembered that. And then I went and I watched his video in defense of John Lasseter. John Lasseter, if you don't recall, was a guy who worked for Pixar for several years and made a lot of the really, really good shit associated with Pixar, but was released in 2018 because he basically fucking treated a whole bunch of women like garbage. Just fucking uber fucking touchy and gross. I took notes while I was watching this shit. So you're going to listen to me read my notes. That is what we're doing right now. Okay, so first we'll take a look
Open up another
at
bag of popcorn.
Yeah, first we're gonna take a look at Anita's Pinhole. Every time I fucking say that, it just feels like he's making a shitty joke about her vagina. Jesus Christ.
I mean,
all right,
that's pretty gross.
Yeah, so he starts off the video by comparing Anita Sarkeesian and her opinions here to biological sciences under Joseph Stalin in Russia.
Huh?
I don't know what world that you live in, where being mildly critical of sexism in video games is the same as like being critical of the handling of biological sciences in Soviet Russia. But yeah, that's where we're starting with this. He then proceeds to misunderstand the concept that it is impossible to be sexist against men. Nobody is saying that you can't be fucking sexist against men in certain circumstances. Anita Sarkeesian's very specific point is that institutionalized sexism against men doesn't exist because you need to both have the negative opinions that would allow you to be sexist against men as well as the power to enforce them, and the vast majority of women fucking do not. That's why we live under a patriarchy, you dumb son of a bitch. He also then proceeds to misunderstand the difference between sexism against men and systemic toxic masculinity, which is not a surprise. He then chooses to make a hilarious argument against Anita Sarkeesian's observation that camera work frequently focuses on women's asses while obscuring men's asses in videos. And I say this is hilarious. It wasn't really that hilarious at the time because, you know, fucking Pinkertons constantly made videos trying to prove that wasn't the case. But it's really fucking hilarious now in the year of our Lord 2021, where we're having this fucking conversation about Miranda Lawson's ass. Like, I did not think that I was going to get 4 minutes into this video and immediately see that the future proved that this guy's a fucking idiot. But holy shit. Like, there is just nothing going on in this guy's video that a smart person would say. This man is not a smart human being. So then he goes on and talks about how there's like gendered insults in The Witcher, and like very specifically indicates that Anita Sarkeesian makes the argument that Ciri's insults that she receives are gendered, and then he says that she's arguing that Geralt deserves the slurs that are thrown at him. He then posts the tweet on screen that she wrote, and that's objectively not what she said. She said that Geralt is called a freak and all this shit because there's weird magical racism going on in the world of The Witcher. There's nothing in that tweet that says that he deserves to be called that. Like, I looked at that tweet multiple times. The word deserve is not in there. You don't know how to read, Troy Leavitt. But it also misses the core issue. Ciri's insults are gendered. Geralt are genderless. Both characters are part of that fictionally prejudiced class who are called freaks and weirdos and everything else. Only one of those two characters is being shamed for their sexuality on top of being a weird magic freak. You fucking moron. He states that Inigo argues that FemShep is too masculine. Like, this is the entirety of his statement, that she's arguing that that FemShep is too masculine. He then plays a clip from her video where she talks about that, and she literally does not say that. She says that FemShep is considered the outlier version of Shepard. Which, the fact that she's called FemShep is kind of the fucking proof that she's the outlier version of Shepard. Male Shepard isn't called M-Shep, he's called Shepard. FemShep is called FemShep. It's like how the main character in Persona 3 on the PSP is called FemC if you play as the girl. Also, she literally didn't say anything about FemShep being too masculine. You fucking weirdo. He then makes a comparison between Anita and Christina Hoff Sommers, who's another pro-Gamergate shill who basically described herself as a Democrat with libertarian leanings, or as most leftists would say, a conservative. She makes it a point that men like games featuring male protagonists and sexy women because they're male, which, you're very stupid. Like, I mean, sure, I like porn games, but my decision-making is not made exclusively on what characters in a game either cater to me directly or stimulate my libido. You fucking weirdo. I didn't I'm very tired. I'm very tired. I don't understand why this is fucking difficult. Like, if I'm buying a pornographic game, sure. But otherwise, like, I'm not fucking buying Bayonetta because she gives me a fucking hard on. I'm buying it because it's like fucking uh Devil May Cry.
But with a cool
I don't-
witch main character.
Yeah, like, I'm not fucking buying games based on who their fucking protagonists are. I'm buying them because they're good or they're bad. If you're making an argument that like most of these games are designed this way because they're trying to appeal to male gamers, like, okay, there are other people who would like to play video games. You fucking idiot. I don't understand this. I will never understand this argument. Anyway, he then makes the statement, gamers don't exclude, they include. This guy never played Dark Souls.
No.
Or went on Reddit. He also argues that developers aren't looking to exclude players, which, one, is objectively untrue. Cuphead, Dark Souls, The Surge, literally any game that is exclusionary based on its difficulty. Like,
Hollow Knight.
that's what's that?
Hollow Knight.
Like, literally the developers say, like, they're aiming for a specific thing here. Like,
Yeah.
that's objectively true. And further to the point, that's not the fucking point, you fucking idiot. It doesn't fucking matter if people are looking to exclude. The choices that you make can potentially exclude people, you fucking gorm. Okay. And this is just in one video. Like, nothing that he says in this video is correct. Nothing that he says in this 20-minute long video is correct. And this is the most notable video that he has recorded. There is a reason why, like, the next most popular video has, like, 1/4 the views. 1/5, excuse me, 1/5 the views. So he's boring, he's not a great developer, and he's kind of dumb. But I was like, he's not really alt-right, is he? So then I go watch his fucking John Lasseter video. Jesus Christ.
Oh no.
Okay. So, John Lasseter was outed from Disney Pixar for sexual misconduct allegations, including him grabbing, kissing, and making comments about physical attributes to women, to a point where Pixar had, quote, minders who were tasked with reining in his impulses.
Whoa.
Oh, hi, Vic Mignogna. Leave It then highlighted several accusations against Lasseter, including that he rubbed one woman's leg routinely during meetings until she actively made it a point to sit as far away from him as possible. That Lasseter was not allowed to be around the actresses playing Disney's fairies alone, to a point where he literally had to have someone mind him whenever they were around.
Wow.
And then one executive very specifically was groped by him in New York City in front of other people, and ended up very specifically saying in a quote that her job description did not include, quote, being groped by John Lasseter.
Oh my god.
So what do you think Troy Leavitt's take on this was?
Lasseter did nothing wrong.
None of what he had done was illegal or a casting couch level of misconduct, and he was relieved Lasseter hadn't raped a person, basically. He also then recontextualized the behavior as hugging too long, and made comparisons to Harvey Weinstein because he's a conservative, that's all they can fucking do. He then brought up that because he himself is a white male, he felt unsure about saying anything about it because he's part of the problem, sarcastically. Because, again, like, they don't fucking know anything else. They don't understand why we're having these fucking problems. So he references an article called The Warlock Hunt, which was written for the American Interest, which is a splinter publication born from the National Interest. Surprise! The National Interest is a fucking magazine with conservative leanings, and the American Interest is also a fucking magazine with conservative leanings. Several of the American Interest's leading members were members of the National Interest. But then, he very specifically quotes something from the fucking article that I read with my fucking eyes. And I'm just going to read this quote for you, and then we're going to be done here, because this speaks to everything that why people fucking think Troy Leavitt's a weird alt-right douchebag now. The things men and women naturally do, flirt, play, lewdly joke, desire, seduce, tease, now become harassment only by virtue of the words that follow the description of the act, one of the generic form, I froze, I was terrified. It doesn't matter how the man felt about it. The onus to understand the interaction and its emotional subtleties falls entirely on him. But why? Perhaps she should have understood his behavior to be harmless, clumsy, sweet but misdirected, maladroit, or tacky, but lacking in malice sufficient to cost him such arduous punishment. So literally, his entire defense of John Lasseter boils down to the point, we shouldn't be canceling dudes for being dudes.
Oh, that's just like, oh, well, that argument literally falls into the same area of like, oh, you should tell your daughters to not dress all slutty, otherwise, instead of telling your boys to keep their hands to themselves.
Yeah, it's literally the case of, oh, well, what were you wearing? Maybe that's why you got raped. I completely understand now why people think this guy is an alt-right weirdo. Because he's a fucking alt-right weirdo.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this isn't fucking rocket surgery, okay? Don't fucking touch women in the workplace unless they are very specifically reciprocal to this. You goddamn weirdo. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I've been fucking working basically since I was 16. So, we'll say 25 years. I have been accused of sexual harassment once in the entirety of my 25 years of working with people because I asked a girl out and she wasn't interested. And then I said, okay, I won't do that again. And I didn't. Now, I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I don't find it difficult to not be a rapey creep at work. Even before I worked from home. I never had any of my fucking coworkers being like, man, that guy's a rapey creep. I don't want to talk to him. I've fucking dated like 3 different coworkers that I've had. It's really not that goddamn difficult to allow a woman the opportunity to express if she is interested in you, and if she is not, to fucking leave her the goddamn hell alone. Nobody is saying that you can't fucking date people that you work with. Nobody is saying that you can't fucking be flirty with people that you work with. But the dude was kind of a creepy weirdo. It's great that you had a good experience with John Lasseter, Troy Leavitt. I'm fucking thrilled to death for you. But I had fucking great experiences with Brandon Stroud, former writer for fucking Up Rocks. Guess what? He was a rapey creep. Abusers tend to be good to people that they feel like can give them something, whether it be corroboration or positive representation or just, you know, the ability to like present the idea of I'm a good guy. And it doesn't make fucking John Lasseter like not a piece of shit. Like, maybe he's not now. He actually took a year off, fucking apologized repeatedly for everything that he did, and like got himself a new job in the industry and seems to be doing fine. Which also, by the way, he took a year off, apologized, and got a new job in the industry. He seems to be doing fine. He did not fucking need you to defend him, Troy Leavitt. He did okay. Most people in these situations do okay. Cancel culture is a myth. Fuck off.
He actually, Lasseter sounds like a man who is actually trying to better himself from the dumb shit that he has done in the past. Whereas
like,
this guy,
Troy Leavitt just fucking left his
seems
fucking
to be getting
YouTube
worse
channel
and worse every time he opens his mouth.
Yeah, like his fucking YouTube channel is still there. You can still go and fucking look at it. Where he has videos inclusive of, but not limited to, being opposed to net neutrality, which fuck
Don't even get me
you.
started. Yeah, don't even get
Yeah.
me started on that.
No
You're
topic.
in it.
We're not. No. Yeah.
Holy
I'm not
shit.
getting into it. I didn't even watch the video. I have no intention of
Yeah,
watching
yeah,
the
yeah.
video. Because again, he's proven that he doesn't understand what like rape culture or feminism or really anything is about. I cannot possibly imagine that he understands what net neutrality is actually about. He's just an asshole. But yeah, so like he's got videos on that. A video titled "It's Okay to Be a Gamer," which nobody has watched, and a video defending Nolan Bushnell, which most people in this day and age that have acknowledged that Nolan Bushnell is kind of an asshole. So like you kind of know what you're getting. Oh, and of course, as I said, a video fucking shitting on The Last Jedi. Oh, and a video titled "In Praise of Cultural Appropriation." So that's great.
Wow.
Ow.
Wow.
But yeah, ultimately at the end of the day, the core point is Troy Leavitt's an idiot. He doesn't know shit from shit about anything. About anything. If that man told me that it was fucking sunny outside, I'd ask for a second opinion. If he told me water was wet, I'd ask for a second opinion. He's not a smart man. He's not a great developer. The fact that Electronic Arts was willing to look at his resume and say, yeah, this guy hasn't fucking worked in 5 years, and the last thing that he worked on was something that Disney shut the entire studio down for. Sure, he should be attached to our Harry Potter project. That's concerning. The fact that they did not then immediately also Google his name and find out, oh man, this guy has some really questionable fucking opinions about women. Also great. Also great. So yeah, this game is at best going to be mediocre, maybe above average, and I would honestly not be surprised if it's a fucking dumpster fire.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. Though, let's be 100% honest here. He's working for EA, who is also known for taking developers and studios out behind the shed and shooting them to their death. So, who knows? Maybe EA is just going to bury this dumbass, and we don't have to worry about him anymore. Who knows?
Oh yeah, as soon as it's become apparent that he's a fucking problem, I'm absolutely certain that they're going to minimize any of his fucking impact. And if people continue to be angry about it, they're probably just going to be like, yeah, get the fuck. And at the end of the day, it ultimately doesn't matter to me because the game's going to be fine. It's going to sell whatever it's going to sell, and him being a part of it is really only one part of that. He's not being rewarded for his behavior in any meaningful way here, so much as it is the EA just didn't care.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody really gave a shit about him within the confines of that sort of like scumfuck community, regardless, because if they had, he wouldn't have needed to go back to work for fucking Electronic Arts. He would have been able to make money doing his fucking YouTube grift.
Fucking shock, right?
So ultimately, at the end of the day, this is like not a thing. It's fuck the guy. He's stupid. He's a bad developer, but he's ultimately making a game that's probably not going to be very good, possibly because of his involvement. He's an idiot, and yeah, that's literally what I got about this guy. Fuck him. He's dumb.
But is he as bad as PewDiePie?
He hasn't actually shown up in a video dressed in an SS uniform, so no.
Okay, we're going to leave it right there. So I'm calling it audible. That went on a little bit longer than I thought it would be. So we're going to actually skip the next topic.
I fucking warned you, motherfucker.
Yeah.
No, you warned me, and I underrated the length of which you were going to go.
Oh, my child.
I mean, let's be honest.
Mark says, hey, I researched this guy. You expect the filibuster. You don't expect the 10-minute conversation. Sorry, you just did.
No, I usually expect a 20-minute conversation, not the 40-minute conversation. That this is the first time I think he's ever gone that far. But Hey, thank you, Mark, so much for enlightening us on this douchebag of douchebaggery. So I'm calling an audible. We're skipping the next topic because we don't need any more Debbie Downer topics. So we're gonna go straight to Metallica and Twitch and that kind of fun stuff. So
Oh, this is good.
So, if in case you guys aren't aware of it, during BlizzCon, their stream, they had Metallica perform live, and whoops, Metallica's music got muted and replaced with 8-bit folk music.
Now,
I find this to be hilarious.
Let's be 100% clear on this. So this only happened on the Twitch gaming. So twitch.tv/Twitch gaming, which was co-broadcasting the original Blizzard cast. If you went to any of the other Blizzard channels, which includes the main Blizzard channel, Warcraft, Starcraft, Diablo, or I think there was one more, I can't remember. Overwatch, thank you.
Mhm.
The main Overwatch pages. They did not do that. They were direct from Blizzard broadcasts, and they specifically stated along the bottom of the screen that the music that was going to be played was licensed by the artist. So take that for what you will. If you were co-broadcasting directly on the Blizzard or other Blizzard pages, specifically because that's where you wanted to get it, as well as the YouTube page that was also a direct broadcast from Blizzard, none of those channels got blipped out. It was only on the Twitch gaming portion or the Twitch gaming page on Twitch that did that quick replacement. And it was a very obvious, 10 seconds when they started into For Whom the Bell Tolls, before the Twitch gaming page was like, oops, and they muted it and just started playing random 8-bit tunes.
Still, it's quite funny, to be truthfully honest. Granted,
yes.
it was not censored on those other official streams. It's just that the one rebroadcast or simulcast from an indirect, streaming party, just like, oh wait, we can't play this. Hit a button. I just think it's funny.
It heavily speaks to the concept of fuck DMCA. It just does. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that, fuck DMCA. The fact that the company who specifically stated that they were going to be co-hosting or co-broadcasting a simulcast of the opening ceremonies and had been given all of the information about timing and how it was going to be played out, all of a sudden was like, oh, well, oops, that's copyright. We don't want to get DMCA'd ourselves, so, because that's basically what happened here. Twitch, the company who does all of the hosting for all of the streamers that you are obviously watching us on this channel right now because we're broadcasting on Twitch, basically got set up thinking, oh, we're just going to be watching the Twitch version of whatever Blizzard's going to be hosting. So we have more places to go. If we don't want to go directly to the Blizzard page, we can have a conversation in the Twitch gaming channel because that's the channel that a lot of people go to. And unfortunately, Twitch, the company who is worried about all of these copyright claims, was the only one that muted out the music and played something else. The issue is more along the lines of the fact that it's funnier to think that the company who's had the most issues recently in terms of DMCA, copyright strike, takedown, and lawsuits was the only channel that was like, oops, we can't play that. But Blizzard exclusively stated on their Twitter, their main BlizzCon website page, as well as through multiple other avenues, that there would be a small concert. Well, in this case, there would be a song played multiple different places across the entirety of the weekend, including a 15-minute DJ set that started off the entire opening ceremonies by the guy who fucking played Hodor from fucking Game of Thrones. So, going into it, 15 minutes before it even started, there was remixes being played by a DJ. Like, that's easily a 15-minute block of oops right there. So Twitch knew all of this was happening, and yet the only song they fucking blinked out was Metallica? Like, that blows my fucking mind. And it really just kind of speaks to the whole concept of why.
I mean,
was
to
that
be
allowed
fair,
be a thing?
if I was gonna blink out anybody's music, it would have been Metallica's.
Absolutely. No. Totally understandable. I get it. But the fact that Twitch, our host, had to blink out a Metallica song because, you know, and then to pick what it was that they played, that I think is really the kind of nail in the coffin here. Is like, it could have been anything. They could have muted it. They could have had hosts pick up, and they could have like completely just not broadcast the song at all. They could have just cut to live hosts. You know, like, there were so many things that they could have done here, and they were like, no, we're just gonna mute it and play our own 8-bit stuff. It's gonna be great.
Yeah. Money good, Napster bad. Yeah, but it's like it's
dang it, piss.
yeah. So like the thing is, I don't have a problem with the idea of what ultimately happened there. I just think that everything as it came together was such a fucking comedy of errors that all you can do is laugh at it. Like, okay, number one, all of this basically fucking started, and there's lots of different reasons for it, but one of the major contributors for why we're having the problems that we're having right now is, of course, fucking Metallica. With, you know, their whole to do about Napster and everything else back in the day, and I totally understand why they had that to do, and they were absolutely right to have that fucking to do. It's their music, they fucking legally made it, that's fine, but also fucking drown in a river of piss, Lars Ulrich. You're a fucking worthless piece of shit, and not even your own fucking bandmates like you at this point. So fuck off. So like just that whole thing is hilarious in and of itself. But then the fact that Twitch very specifically has legal protections in place for certain circumstances, and Amazon knows this, right? DJ mixes, live performances generally don't need to be muted. If you're doing a cover of a song, it generally doesn't need to be muted because you're not making the money off of the production of the cover itself. You're just playing a song live. It's the difference between, you know, Orgy's cover of Blue Monday being on a record and, you know, an Alice in Chains cover band at a $4 bar, right? Nobody's going to shit on you for specifically doing a live cover. It's only if you attempt to monetize that and sell it that it's a problem. So lots of people on Twitch very specifically do live performances and are fine. Nobody cares about that. DJ live mixes would fall under that particular category since you're remixing the music, you're doing something transformative with it. And again, it's just a live performance that you yourself are doing. Depending upon how extensively the particular musician samples stuff, maybe there might be a concern. But for the most part, probably none of that was something that the RIAA would shit on them for. Further, this is the actual musicians fucking showing up and playing their own goddamn music. So it's just very funny that, to me, that of all the things that they could have been like, nope, we're not going to get involved with that, it was very specifically Metallica. I also think it's very hilarious because, like, modern Metallica is not particularly good. Like, I love me some Metallica. Like, I'm not even talking about, like, you know, their modern records aren't good. If you like their modern records, it's fine. It's just, they're getting old.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they are just not physically capable of doing the kind of music that they used to be able to do. And the type of music that he did was just fucking hard and heavy, and they just can't keep up with it anymore.
Right.
I mean, that's why bands like Anthrax or Slayer are now retiring. So They can't
Yeah.
keep up with that anymore. I mean, one of the reasons why Slayer retired is because their lead singer's had neck surgery at least twice. That's why you don't see the poor man headbanging during his own concerts.
Yeah, and it's like, you made your fucking money, that's great and everything, fine, whatever, et cetera, so on. Yeah, and Daft Punk just split, so it's
Speaking
It's-
about the
it's kind of a-
money-making aspect of the, the protecting your music so you can get your collection, it's funny that Lars and Metallica are so hell-bent back then on protecting their property of music when all they get is maybe less than $1 of the amount of a CD that is sold back in the day. The real money that musicians make are really when they go on tour, which is why you see them going on 2 or 3 tours a year. And that's where their money comes from, not from like the $1 they made off of a CD they sold through some executive while everybody else pockets the money.
Oh yeah, like most musicians at this point have made it a point of saying, Spotify, which is where your music seems to live or die at this point, is not making them any kind of reasonable money. Which is also, again, why you see a lot of musical entities like The Midnight, for example, very specifically said, look, you can use our fucking music on live streams. We don't care. And because they're not making enough money off of that in and of itself. They're making money off merch. They're making money off touring. And when they did a live tour this year where it was like a pay-per-view tour, I specifically threw down the money to watch it because, that money goes directly to them. You're getting your fucking profit out of that.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I'll still listen to their songs on Spotify, but they're not that's not where they're making their money. It's not where Metallica is making their money. It's not where any musician is really making their money. Unless you're releasing an absurdly large amount of music per year to a point where like you're suffering to make your music, you're not making your fucking money from Spotify.
Mm-mm.
And it's just very amusing to me that all of this basically kind of tracks to the idea of record executives specifically attempting to protect the investment that they're getting from the music. And it all kind of sort of tracks back to Lars Ulrich being a weird dick in the 90s. And I just think that's great.
It's also funny, if this really was a big deal, then nobody would be allowing Weird Al Yankovic to even parody their music. Even though he has every legal right to do so.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, he specifically goes and asks the artists
Because
now,
he's being polite. That's the thing. And he has been refused by both Prince, and now that Prince is dead, he's never going to get to make any music by it. And he even had Paul McCartney tell him, no, I don't want you to release that parody of Chicken Pot Pie, please. I don't want you to do that. I'm a vegetarian.
Yeah, and that's totally fine. Like generally speaking, he started doing that because Coolio got mad at him, although Coolio has since like stepped back from it after the fact and realized, yeah, no, that was fine. But yeah, like for the most part, like a few people have refused him, but the vast majority of people realize, no, this means I fucking made it. Like if somebody fucking did a parody, if Weird Al did a parody of my song, I fucking made it.
Yeah. If anybody
like, Lady Gaga's people fucking refused him, and then Lady Gaga herself came out and was like, "What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Let Weird Al Yankovic do whatever the fuck he wants. Shut up."
Yeah, there was
They're like,
dumbasses.
there was the one album just before that one with the Lady Gaga situation where Weird Al wrote a song, I forget, from John Mayer. He did a parody of it. He called "Don't Download the Song." The record company told him, no, you cannot do that. You cannot release it. So what does he do? He made it free download available on his website.
Yep.
He released it anyway. He said, "Fuck you. I don't fucking care. Fuck you." Which is why Weird Al Yankovic is the greatest musician on earth.
And he has not aged a day. He is over 60 years old, and he looks like he sacrifices virgins daily to stay young.
Wow.
Yeah, him and fucking Keanu Reeves are part of that. Never mind, I'm not even getting into that. Anyway,
And fucking
we've already dealt with enough fucking weirdos today. I don't need to fucking deal
Yeah.
with any more. But anyway, yeah. So that's my whole fucking take on the fucking Metallica thing. It's just goddamn hilarious.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah,
think
yeah,
fucking-
absolutely.
It's just great. I just think it's great.
How about you, Spencer? You've been unfortunately quiet this whole time. Do you have anything you want to say about this? Metallica, Weird Al? Thank you for the follow,
no.
by the way, Stevie.
I don't really know if I have much to add to it because they kind of like nailed it, but it's just so funny to me that it happened to Metallica of all people. Like they were so gung ho about that shit back in the day, and this is because of them.
Thank you, Stevie.
Thanks for the sub, man.
Thank you. It's like my 5th sub, and it won't be renewed in a month because I still don't have any emotes.
Sadness.
Epic
I
sadness.
would sub if you had an emote.
I would
Yeah,
have
seriously.
emotes if a certain somebody was able to get in contact with me.
I told you to fucking email the guy.
No, dude.
You said you would talk to him on my behalf, but okay.
Did I? Okay. Well then, yeah, I'll fucking just fucking email him. I'll give
I don't
you
have his email,
address.
but give it to me after the show. Anyway, you were saying, Spencer, I'm sorry.
I mean, that was it. I just love that it happened to Metallica of all people. Like during their set, it's
Couldn't
like
happen
perfect.
to a
Yeah.
nicer dump.
in
It's
some
like
in
that's
some weird way, it
exactly
feels like
why
sweet
this shit
justice.
exists. Yeah, because of them is a reason why this exists. There's other reasons, obviously, but they were the ones that were so gung ho about it. And yep, this is because of you.
Wait,
And
why
I
did
think it's
that
really-
do what? Huh?
I think that
He was
this
gonna
is
say
really-
Johnny Silverhand. Then it said Johnny Silver
Oh,
download
because
patch.
he put a period in the middle of it. That's why it did that.
Ah,
That's why it's now a link. Don't worry about it. Just watch where you put your periods. All right.
Johnny Silver
Well-
download patch.exe hand is breathtaking. Yeah.
All right, so I think that wraps up the show pretty nicely. Let's go do the roundtable, see what is going on, what you guys got planned. We'll start with you, Jan. What's coming up? What's going on?
I'm waiting. Normally I would stream Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, but yeah, this week is not a thing. My internet has been hella sketchy. So I'm simply just gonna be waiting for the tech on Thursday morning. I might do some tests in the early goings just to make sure that it works. And that my upload isn't a tremendous pile of shit.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, waiting to get my internet back up into full spec, and then I'm gonna end up probably going pretty hard ham into the Street Fighter V because we're only 6 months away from Akira getting into Street Fighter, so I guess I gotta be prepared for that.
Alrighty, Spencer, what do you got going on? What's coming up?
Yeah, so every Monday for now we are on a season break from our vampire show that we do every week. But in the meantime, Mark and I are playing Resident Evil 5 co-op together. So if you want, you can come hang out with us Monday nights at 7 Central, and we'll be playing Resident Evil 5 till we finish it.
Alrighty, Mark, what's going on with you besides the Resident Evil 5 with Spencer?
Well, I might be fucking around and trying to restart Neo Kobe Pizza. I haven't figured that out 100%
Oh.
yet, but I made a
Come on.
spreadsheet documenting all of the people that I might potentially be able to talk to and potential topics to talk to them about. So,
Any returning guests or you new list of co-hosts? Fresh co-hosts.
It's definitely going to be a mix of people that have been on it before and new people. I might talk to you guys about stuff if I can figure out topics that you guys can talk about. Jan, in particular, I think I probably have a topic I would want to talk with you about, but otherwise, it's just a matter of finding either people who have something they want to talk about already, or finding a topic and then like figuring out, oh, I definitely want to talk about it with this person.
Cool. What about your streaming schedule? Are you back to Friday, Saturdays? Only Fridays?
Presently I'm only doing Saturdays because my friend CJ does stuff on Fridays, and I presently hang out with him
Mhm.
during that. I may ultimately end up moving back to Fridays. I haven't decided yet, but I'll let you know.
Alrighty. And as for me, Sundays are really my major stream time. Every other Sunday, I'm either going to be streaming Killer Instinct, and the other days will be Virtual Fighter tournaments. My next Virtual Fighter bi-weekly tournament for the PS3 will be March 7th. This upcoming Sunday will be Killer Instinct, and I am trying to reacclimate myself into the community. It's been a while since I've been a part of that one. There's a really big movement going on right now of trying to bring the game back into the spotlight, and they did it in a really big way when Maximilian hosted a tournament about 3 weeks ago with about 40,000 people watching it. It was a top 32 like invitational tournament, and it was a lot of hype, and it got me really interested in wanting to get back into the KI community. So my goal for this is to hopefully get some kind of a following when it comes to the KI streams, and maybe I can also start running, a bi-weekly or a monthly tournament for the Killer Instinct scene, which I would love to do because I kind of like running tournaments. It's my thing. Tuesdays, of course, every other Tuesday here on GVN Live. Next one will be on March 9th, and on every other Tuesday, I'll just try and play something just to entertain the masses. Mondays, I'm trying to get a stream ready. At the end of March, though, we have Monster Hunter Rise coming out, so I'm probably going to dedicate Mondays to Monster Hunter once again.
Mm-hmm.
So that should be a lot of fun. How many people here are getting Monster Hunter Rise?
For sure.
Mark?
Said it before, I'll say it again. I love that Monster Hunter is successful. It's great that more and more people are into it, but I'm just burnt out on it.
Okay, and hey, Black Belt Spartan, thank you for the info about PS5s being available. Go to GameStop right now if you want to get your PS5.
Good luck.
So if you guys are interested, yeah, definitely tune in. If you want to follow us, you can see our Twitters right there underneath our video screens. For the most part, that is also the names of our Twitch channels, with the exception of mine, which you're here, you know it already. So go you. With that, I want to say thank you, and on behalf of GVN Live,
And they're gone.
and they're gone. Yep.
Have
Have yourself a good night, people.
Good night.
Good night.